Shalom, it's Ivan Rav Meir from Yerushalayim. What a zchut. I'm privileged to be a part of that beautiful project, Vayichan. All of us, Keish Echad, Belev Echad, from all over the world, different Jews united, and we can't forget the mutual, the common denominator, the mutual mission we all share. Although the differences and different sectors and different aspects in our lives. I think I was asked to speak about the coronavirus, that period, and the 3 weeks, Shloshet HaShavuot. And I think maybe the best way to describe, what I've been through, but I hope it will inspire you too, is just to describe the journey, my journey in the last 4 or 5 months from the States. We were there on behalf of the World Mizrahi Movement. We were there on Shlichut. We lived there and we were all over North America, visiting different communities and schools and shuls and federations, meeting thousands of brothers and sisters abroad. And now we're here back in Yerushalayim, back in Israel. The Shlichut, I can't say it ended, it changed, okay? Different transformation. It's a different type of Shlichut and a Zoom Shlichut maybe. And I do want to share a few stories and a few thoughts about that process, the last 4 or 5 months in our life, and maybe try to share and to look and see what are the messages. It's not a story about me or my family. I think it's the story of the Jewish nation, since I'm privileged to speak to so many Jews and listen to their stories. And maybe the first lesson, the first message is after living for 8 months in New York, is understanding how much we don't understand, knowing how much we don't know, understanding how much we do not understand, okay? Getting to know you, the Jews abroad, out there, in Teaneck and Five Towns, Maryland and Memphis, Dallas and California, and Toronto, Montreal. We also visited London, Manchester, Leeds, so many places, so many communities, so many different Jews. I think the first thing I brought back home with me, the first thing I packed, the luggage, I brought the suitcase I brought back home to Israel, is that essence, that feeling we should, in a way, feel closer, know more about each other, know more about the challenges. I experienced, for the first time in my life, what does it mean to be a minority in the States? And those 3 weeks, it's all about unity, all about Jewish unity, understanding our brothers and sisters all over the world. I think for me, that experience was a life-changing journey, although it was short. Realizing what you care about, what you want, what are the aspirations, and what are the obstacles, the challenges, okay? Just understanding what does it mean, when all over the place it's the different holidays, foreign holidays, but you celebrate Hanukkah, okay? You light the menorah as a minority. Understanding how expensive it is to be a Jew. Maybe, I'm sorry, but that's maybe the saddest conclusion in our journey. You have to be rich in order to be an active, engaged, proud Jew, and in order to give that education, to be able to educate your kids in that way. In a way, you should be rich. The camps, the schools, tuition, it's a new word I learned there. Everything is built in such a different way. Although you're frum, you're an Orthodox, observant Jew, things are completely different. And it was for me, putting wearing new glasses and learning, how do you look at the world as an American Jew today? That was quite an experience. I try to share it with people here, just explaining to them, some Israelis think, okay, they should all make Aliyah. Otherwise, I don't care about them. No, you must get to know, to understand them, what they do, what they feel. And that's maybe the first message, from that period in America. But it also taught me to, I would say, even appreciate the way you live there as a minority. Maybe we should learn it from you. That strength, that feeling of pride, I remember I read an interview with Steven Spielberg, and he said when he was a young kid, all he wanted was to be a non-Jew, to be a Gentile, since he always, he was envy, he was jealous when he looked at all the neighbors and the friends celebrating all the Christian holidays. He wanted to be a part of that party, a part of that club. And his dad, his father, he didn't allow anything. He said, no, Stephen, you can't. We're Jews. And that was frustrating because since Stephen, all he saw was the negative part. Sur mera. Okay, mitzvot lo ta'aseh. what's forbidden, what can't you do, what is not allowed. But what about the yes, not the no, the yes? What is allowed? What can I do? What if the positive? What is the positive experience as a Jew that wasn't part of his life as a kid, unfortunately? Meaning, you can't only tell your kids as an American Jew, do not assimilate. And let's face it, that's the hugest problem we're facing today. Okay, no other problems. I think when you speak about priorities, that's the number one problem. Let's be honest. And you can't just say, you shouldn't marry her. No, you should create, you should build such an attractive identity. So it will be, it will not make sense to assimilate. I mean, why should I leave my heritage, my identity? I have such a strong yes. You shouldn't even use the no. And I think, once again, that's maybe the main challenge in the States today. When we speak about Jewish continuity, and that's the time, that's, Shlosh Shavuot between Zayin B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, how can we rebuild the Jewish nation, okay? Avoid destruction and Churban, and have as much as binyan as we can. A Jewish continuity, Jewish education. I think you're facing a huge challenge here, meaning creating a positive atmosphere, an attractive experience, and in order to make the next generation, not only, make them not assimilate, make them even better Jews than us. I heard the sentence once, a definition, what's a Jew? What's a good Jew? A good Jew is a Jew that always tries to be a better Jew. So we want them to be better Jews than us. How can we do it? We should have Judaism as the center of our identity, our attention. That's the most exciting thing in our life. How do we do it? The land of impossible opportunities. Everything is allowed in America. Everything's accessible. Everything's available. How do you do it? I mean, that's I think is the main challenge. And I want to tell you something. Don't be shy and don't underestimate yourself. You're doing it. In a way, you created a system. And I visited all those places: Mizrahi, OU, YU, NCSY, Hillel, Chabad, beautiful places. Shiva University, YU, obviously, I worked there. Beautiful places, creating that bubble. Why am I using this word, the bubble? Since I think if we speak once again about destruction, about Chorban, it's a bubble. It's a beautiful bubble, a powerful bubble. Good for you. Yishar Koach for building this bubble for so many generations. Once again, we're not aware to the history, the way you built it. There are so many Torah places and yeshivot and centers and things you did there during the last 200 years, let's say. But in a way, it is a bubble, since it represents only the minority. I would say 10%, maybe 10% of Jewish population in the States. And the majority, and once again, it's something I discovered there. Only there did I realize Reform versus Orthodox. It's a story we like to say, to tell ourselves here in Israel. The media likes, it's good. It creates rating, and that's the way we were taught to think about the States. No, the mainstream today, the main sector, every poll, every survey, whenever you ask people, how do you define yourself? The young generation, the Jews, young Jews today in America, when you ask them, how do you define yourself? Who are you as a Jew? Most of them, okay, the largest group, 40%, the largest group is not Reform or conservative groups. They become smaller. It's not the Orthodox group who becomes larger. It's the group called the unaffiliated. What a sad name, unaffiliated. In other words, I don't care. What do you want? I had a grandfather, maybe, ask my Zaidi. Okay, I'm unaffiliated. I don't want to pay. I'm not part of, I don't use any of those bubbles. And that's the disaster. Those unaffiliated Jews. I think it's our obligation, it's our zchut, and also our chova to reach out to them, to be in touch, to draw them, to make into the bubble. We created such a beautiful bubble. And in a way, I don't feel it's urgent. Maybe it's, rude as an Israeli. Okay, I'm an Israeli, I'm allowed. But maybe it's rude, to come as a visitor, as a guest, and just tell other people what to do. But I feel in a way, yeah, it's not so urgent for American Jews today to go out and meet those unaffiliated Jews and make them, into affiliated Jews. And I felt that's the number one mission to all of us. And they should be here with us. We can't let them, we can't delete, we can't erase them as from our nation. Vayichan, we just said, Keish echad belev echad. We need them, their heart, their personality. We need them around Har Sinai with us. And unfortunately, I also discovered so many Israelis are unaffiliated. American Israelis, Israelis who left Israel. They live there abroad. But their Israeli identity is not enough. They need their Jewish identity there in the States, much more than they need it here. Okay, you need it everywhere, but it's really necessary there. And I've met so many unaffiliated Israelis there. And once again, it was a shame for me. I was ashamed as an Israeli. I mean, the numbers, the percentage of assimilation among them, but also the knowledge, the fact they don't send their kids to Jewish schools. So maybe I would describe that journey. Maybe that was the first surprise, okay, for us as a family in the States, getting to know the brightest, strongest parts of what you built there, but also, and once again, it's a message for those days, okay? Kol rodfea hisiguha ben hametzarim. These are days when we discuss the Chorban, we describe the problems, the obstacles, the missions, the things we should still fix and correct and make them better. I think that's the number one mission for the English speakers in North America, in Europe that are listening to me now. Think about those unaffiliated Jews. Pick one, just choose one and make them affiliated. Think about it. If we all took it as a family project, one Jew, just one, we can really change, the Jewish world, the whole world. That was the first, I would say, stop. That was the first place, okay? Coming to America, getting to know you. But afterwards, we came back. We came back to Israel. After 8 months, we escaped. It was a Yetziat Mitzrayim, okay? Yetziat New York. We left New York. We felt that's the right thing to do. No lectures anymore, no activity. Obviously, no schools for the kids. We were completely isolated in North Woodmere. That's where we lived. And then we decided we should go back home to Eretz Israel. So we landed, and I think it was one of the most exciting moments I had in this crazy, crazy year. We all, wow, just imagine what we've been through. Imagine last Tisha B'Av and this Tisha B'Av. Just imagine all those holidays we're celebrating with the coronavirus, with that really in this really challenging times. So we landed Ben Gurion Airport, and me, my husband Yedidia, 5 kids, Baruch Hashem, after this awful flight from New York, scary flight, with all the luggage and the huge balagan, a huge mess. And then we had to obviously be quarantined for 14 days. On the way there, we rented this place in a village to be there isolated completely for 14 days. Oh, obviously, Lela Seder was one of those 14 days. Seder night. We had to prepare everything to clean, me, all by myself. My husband, he was never the Orech Seder. Okay, Baruch Hashem, the corona is some people call it the disease, the epidemic. It's a teacher. So yeah. And then we turned on the radio on the way, and we listened to the first headline, the first topic on the news. It said, Prime Minister Netanyahu will inform the public tonight what's the policy during Leila Seder. And then it said the IDF generals will be also part of that press conference, and the health minister, the ministry officials, all kinds of supreme people. They will all declare. They will all say how should we all celebrate Pesach this year. We looked at each other. We didn't even have to speak. We understood everything in a minute. We're home. After describing the beautiful culture you built there in the States, now I have to say something about the culture we built here in Israel. We built a Jewish homeland. We looked at each other, and once again, we all realized we're home. Why? Since for 8 months, we heard the news, but the main headline, the first headline was always the coronavirus. Now, the main issue is not the coronavirus. It's Leila Seder. How will we celebrate Leila Seder during the coronavirus era? But that's the question. And the equation is completely different. I mean, after celebrating so many holy holidays in the States, it started with Halloween, Leil Kol HaKadoshim, Thanksgiving, Christmas, obviously, Super Bowl, Black Friday, okay? I don't want to compare, lehavdil, but you feel there's always this pulse, this club. Something's happening in this continent, but you're not part of the party. Sometimes you can, participate, you can join, but in a way, but it's not your party. It's not your cultural pulse. And suddenly you land here and it's our pulse. We built that Jewish homeland after 2,000 years in order to turn on the radio and listen, to the prime minister. It's not the Rebbe, the I would say community leader, the shul's rav. That's also very important. I'm sure our neighbors in North Woodmere, they all had their local information, WhatsApp groups with their information. But here, it's official. It's the prime minister of the Jewish state declaring, saying basically what's the news here? What's the real headline? The real headline is we still remember that holy night, Leila Seder. We still remember Yetziat Mitzrayim. We still remember those hours of redemption, and we all want to be a part of it. 9 million Israelis, they all understand. That's the main challenge now. How will we celebrate Leila Seder without grandmother when there's like all those restrictions? But don't forget, don't be confused. That's the main thing. And for me, that moment, as a shlicha only for 8 months, maybe you sometimes need to be far away in order to appreciate what you have here. The local treasures you have here, the local gifts you have. And for me, it was a very meaningful moment, understanding what we've built here. And when I look at Tisha B'Av, those special days, I also want to look at what we built. Obviously, we have a lot to do. We should fast, we should daven, we should say Megillat Eicha, all the kinot and everything. Obviously, the mission is not completed. But we should also look at the special opportunity we got, especially in our generation, to reach final redemption, Be'ezrat Hashem. So that's the second story, okay? That's the second part of that journey. But since we landed, a new, I would say, chapter is written in my life. It's the first time I'm home. For the first time I'm here with my kids. Kirot beito shel adam meidim alav. Chazal say, Kirot beito shel adam meidim alav. The walls of a person's house, the home, the walls of the house, I look at them now, they testify who he really is. I think that's the third message, the third lesson. It's not about American Jews, Israeli Jews. It's about our soul, our identity, and the destruction or the rebuilding of the house, the national house, starts in the private home, the private place. Kirot beito shel adam meidim alav. At the end of the day, after visiting so many communities and so many journeys were canceled, I still see the flights, on my schedule. I still see it. San Francisco, Boston. No, maybe I hope to be with you one day, but no, it's impossible right now. Everything was canceled. Everything. All the plans, everything was booked. Nothing. Now I'm home with my kids, with myself, with my husband. Different days. Kirot beito shel adam meidim alav. That's the main message, I think, that virus teaches us all. At the end of the day, it's you inside your house and the way you build your identity, your family, your, I would say, personality. Hamidot, the way you treat other people, the way you speak, the way you act, the way you eat, the way you chat, the text, everything you do. The private sphere became the main sphere in our life. So understanding that as a mother of 5, and I was, I'm a career woman, but something is much more balanced right now in my life. Meaning I got the opportunity to spend so much time with my family. It's annoying, and they fight all day, and we fight. I'm part of those fights and everything. I don't want to, I don't want to lie. Okay, I'm honest. Dugri. It's not easy, but it's worth it. In a way, it's worth it. And yeah, so many lectures are canceled, but now new things are booked. Nobody booked it. It's not on the schedule. Sitting with my child for so many hours, speaking to him, with my daughter, with my husband. It's new. And in a way, it's challenging. And as I said, I think it's worth it. Kirot beito shel adam meidim alav. And in a way, I think that's the base for us to build things out there. By the way, when you read Megillat Eicha, you see how many times Yirmiyahu, he wrote Megillat Eicha, Prophet Yirmiyahu, he uses those personal words, bat, achot. Those are the guiding words, the key words in Megillat Eicha. Read the Megillah and check. Bat, almana, isha, gever, bachur, bachura. The personal sphere is destroyed in a way, and that destruction affects the destruction out there. We should build strong families, strong houses, in order to build a strong nation. קירות ביתו של אדם מעידים עליו. First of all, not all the friends and the followers out there. It's not the number of likes or tweets or retweets or all those hearts and emojis. No, it's first of all kirot habayit. They know who you are. And then someone told me, I shared that idea with someone here in Israel, and she told me, look at Dvorah Neviah, the prophet Dvorah. She says, when she introduces herself, when she says, who am I? The CV, what does she write? What does on the card? What's written there? Dvorah Neviah. Who are you? Are you a coach, a mentor, a leader, a prophet, a judge? No. The first thing she says is, when she describes herself, Ad shekamti Dvorah, shekamti em beIsrael. I arose as a mother in Israel. First of all, afterwards we can describe all the things she did. Huge things. But first of all, Ad shekamti Dvorah, shekamti em beIsrael. It's a challenge, it's a mission, it's also a shlichut. After being on shlichut, on the stages, meeting thousands of Jews, at the end of the day, I personally want to remember that message. Being a shlicha, it's also here among those, when you look at kirot beito shel Adam. I want to tell you something personal. The end of that journey, since I hope there will be, next chapters, we can go out, meet each other again, hug each other again, fly. But I just want to say something personal. We think about you. We even daven, we pray for you. And we know how much you miss Israel. And I want to tell you something. I even learn from those longing, from that feeling you share with me. I once spoke to a beautiful community, KMS, Camp Mill Synagogue, Silver Spring, Maryland. And we had a Zoom meeting. And at the end of the lecture, I asked them, do you have any questions, Q&A? And one of the ladies said, I just want to tell you, I don't care what you said. I didn't even really listen, okay? Because just speaking to someone for an hour from Israel, it means so much for me. We didn't spend Pesach or Shavuot or Yom Ha'atzmaut and Elul and Tishrei, the holidays. We can't come. So speaking here, seeing you see Jerusalem here behind me? Just seeing you made me, so happy. It was so meaningful. And I looked back, I looked at my house, at Kirot Habayit, and I felt, in a way, much more thankful, thanks to her. So we're with you, and we really hope to be together, united, Vayichan, Keish Echad Belev Echad, really physically, Bekarov. Thank you very much, and Besorot Tovot, Yeshuot, V'Nechamot.